In another wonderful moment, the Apostle Paul makes an observation about God's master plan in using difficulties. And here's where we find reason number 4. God may allow hurtful times so that we can comfort others. 2 Corinthians 1 says, "Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves have received from God." In the space of a handful of verses, Paul uses the word comfort 10 times. And comfort has the idea of being able to not merely give sympathy, but it has the idea of someone standing alongside another person, having experienced the same thing, and being kind of a soulmate as that person goes through their difficulty. And what I've observed personally and through being a pastor for 30-something years and seeing people go through some of the most horrific, traumatic events and loss of life and all these things, is that sometimes people don't feel or sense God's presence during traumatic events. And before you jump to that conclusion, that just because God doesn't intervene or change things, that He doesn't care, listen to Philip Yancey. He said the image Jesus left with the world, the cross, the most common image in the Christian religion, is proof that God cares about our suffering and pain. He died of it. Today the image is coated with gold and worn around the necks of beautiful girls, a symbol of how far we can stray from the reality of history. But it stands unique among all the religions of the world. Many of them have gods, but only one has a God who cared enough to become a man and to die. You see, history reminds us that God really does care. He cared so much that He sent His Son to face incredible loss and trauma. But it's not just that. Part of God's master plan is to take difficulties that come into people's life, difficulties that God did not cause, but that God is somehow able to take those and remind people, folks like you and I, that He really does care, because He's going to bring people alongside of you who've gone through similar pain and loss. Listen once more to Philip Yancey. This plan of the body messes with the way God is working in the world. Sometimes He does enter in, occasionally performing miracles, often giving supernatural strength to those in need. But mainly He relies on us, His agents, to do His work in the world. We announce His message, work for justice, pray for mercy, and suffer with the sufferers. We are to comfort each other and to bring healing. By doing so, we will be recognized as Christ's body. You are now God's agent for comfort. If you've been comforted, you can bring comfort to someone inside the body or outside the body. If you've experienced loss, you know what it feels like, and when someone else begins to experience and express incredible loss, you can come to them. If you've been emotionally wounded and survived, you have all the experience necessary to have a ministry of comfort. If you've had people surround you with empathy, you know what that's like. If you've been alone as you've gone through certain difficulties, you are now able to experience what that feels like. And when God just alerts your kind of divine antenna and someone is feeling very alone with what they're going through, you can come alongside of them. Anybody can have this ministry. And what's amazing is that God can take your worst moments and transform another person's life. What I'm amazed at is that the one message that people in churches ask me to deliver all the time is, where is God when it hurts? And every time I say, thanks a lot, God. Because I have to share my story. And every time I share my story, I feel some of the pain of what it meant to go through some of the things I've gone through. It's not a fun thing to almost lose your wife. It's not a fun thing to have your vocation and your church taken from you. And you have to start over at 56, kind of redefining yourself and doing something totally different. But I found that by me telling my story, I can encourage people that they will get through it.